接下来我们邀请到两位引领生成式 AI 创新浪潮的专家来分享 AWS 助力日本三菱银行打造 AI 驱动的智慧金融服务经验。Next section is leading the wave of generative AI innovation, how AWS and MUFG accelerate GenAI adoption and enhance client experiences in corporate sales. So we are pleased to invite two experts to share their insights. Ms. Allanna Rigby, Generative AI Go-to-Market Lead, APAC AWS, and Mr. Tetsuo Horigane, Head of Quant Innovation, MUFG Bank. First of all, please join me in welcoming Ms. Allanna Rigby. Welcome.
Good morning. So today I'm going to tell you about the transformative power of agentic AI for financial institutions. My name is Allanna Rigby. I'm the go-to-market lead for AI in ANZ Australia. So, who remembers when, if you wanted to make an international transfer or even check your bank balance, you had to physically call the bank? Or who remembers when, if you wanted to find a plumber or an electrician, you had to go to the phone book, the Dean Hua Bu? Or who remembers when, if you wanted to go on holiday, you had to leave your house, go to a travel agency, and look through different brochures to try and find out where you wanted to go on holiday? There was no TripAdvisor or travel reviews. Technology has changed a lot over our lifetime, and it seeks to enable humans to get what they want faster and more easy. But we're at a real inflection point where technology is not only allowing us to get what we want faster, but it's alleviating some of the mental workload and thinking that we need to do. I'd like to start my presentation by painting a picture. Now, as some background, I'm a busy working mum. I have 2 young children at home, and our mornings are incredibly chaotic. In fact, if David Attenborough, the British nationalist, were narrating them, he'd be using words like feral, chaos, and total hierarchical descent. But I'm going to paint you a different picture, a picture of a morning with agentic AI. It's 6:30 in the morning. My alarm has gone off 15 minutes earlier than usual. And this is because my AI agent has detected traffic on the road, and it knows I have an important 9 a.m. meeting that it doesn't want me to be late to. It tells me that overnight there's been no real significant business emails, but it does say that there's one email from Steve in New York. Steve is from accounts and has yet another question. My AI agent has gone to the database, found the information Steve needs, made sure he can have access to it, made it into a graph, and written a clear and articulate email for Steve. All I have to do is quickly review and send. And so I can get into the shower knowing I'm not going to be blindsided today. It's now 7:15 and I'm sitting around the table having breakfast with my children. My AI agent reminds my son that he needs to take his flute to school and that my daughter will need her netball outfit. It also reminds me that my son is overdue a dentist appointment. The AI agent has gone ahead and booked an appointment with the dentist at a convenient time for both of us. It also reminds me that next week is my mother's birthday. It's been to Amazon.com, obviously, and selected a number of gifts that it thinks my mother would like. All I have to do is select one, and my AI agent will go and purchase it for her and have it sent. My AI agent has also recommended a couple of restaurants that I might like to take my mother to next week. It's made preliminary reservations, and all I have to do is confirm which one I would like, and it will go ahead and confirm the booking. The agent will also email my sister and my brother to make sure everyone can be there. It's 8 o'clock, and I've dropped the children off to school. On time, everybody remembered everything, and nobody cried. And on the way to work in the car, I converse with my AI agent in natural language. We talk about emails that need to be responded to. We go through my diary for the day and deconflict some meetings, and we prioritise my to-do list. I arrive at work at 8:45, 15 minutes before my 9 a.m. meeting, just enough time for me to go to my favourite coffee shop. Now, there's something you should know about Australians. We are mad about coffee. I arrive at my favourite coffee shop and my coffee is there waiting for me, piping hot, because my AI agent has ordered it and paid for it in advance. And so I get to the office at 5 to 9, fully caffeinated, stress-free, and ready to take on my day. Now, doesn't that sound wonderful? And if agentic AI can take my morning routine from absolute chaos to calmness, imagine what it can do for your business. There are business leaders in this room from different FSI and gaming companies, and each of you will have dozens and dozens of processes within your organisation that are going to be significantly improved by agentic AI. And all of this is not technology of the future. Everything I said, it's not 5 years away. It's not 2 years away. It's not even 1 year away. It's now. All of that technology is available now. We are in the age of agentic AI. So how did we get here? How did we get to this stage where AI has evolved so quickly and has become so prominent to the fact that it can actually act on behalf of humans? To explain that, I thought it'd be fun to go back in time. Now, everybody thinks that AI is a new thing, but it's not. It's actually been around since the 1950s. Unfortunately, back then, we just didn't really have the computing power to do much with it. The real first breakthrough in the AI revolution came in the early 90s, 50s, and 60s with rule-based computing. Computers were pre-programmed to behave in a certain way, if this, then that. And the greatest rule-based computer of them all, without question, was the Apollo guidance computer. It got men from Earth to the moon on 4 kilobytes of memory. That is the same amount of memory your iPhone uses every time you take a picture. So every time you take a selfie, that is the same amount of memory it used to get people from the Earth to the moon, which is incredible. But these computers were experts in certain areas, but they knew nothing of the real world. And then came the 1980s, and finally we can use computing power outside of NASA's servers and into people's homes. And the real evolution for personal computers came with the invention of software. Now, one of the first softwares was a software called VisiCalc. Does anybody remember VisiCalc? No? No one that old? Okay. So VisiCalc was invented by a guy called Dan Brinklin. And the reason he invented it was he was studying at Harvard, an engineering degree. And he would see his professor write up these big tables on the whiteboard of calculations. And every time they changed a parameter, the professor would have to rub out all of the different cells and fill them in with the new calculations. And he thought, wouldn't it be amazing if computers can do this? And the invention of software is what really launched computers. And it transformed everything about the way we work. No more typewriters, no more handwritten email letters, no more post letters. Everything was done by email. It transformed how businesses happened. But everything had to be pre-decided. Every program had to be an if this, then that. And so in the 1990s and the early 2000s, everybody was using computers. There were laptops and small surface computers, and there was this huge amount of data, and data became a commodity. And the data science community started to think about, what if we didn't have to pre-program everything? What if we could let computers learn from data themselves? And in that came the idea of machine learning. Now, the real inflection point came in 2006 with Netflix. Netflix had a problem. They had 50 million subscribers, and they wanted to be able to recommend movies to them. But you can't pre-program recommendations for 50 million people. It's just not possible. So they launched the Netflix Prize. It was a $1 million competition. And the winning algorithm was able to predict what movie you might like. So if person A watched movie A, B, and C, then person B who watched movie A and B would most likely like C. Machine learning revolutionized the way that we work, and it revolutionized software. One of the world's greatest machine learning algorithms is the Amazon store recommendation. So if you go onto Amazon and you buy a cat mug and a tea cozy, it will most likely recommend that you buy a teapot. But machine learning still only could recommend. It could still only learn from patterns. The biggest breakthrough of them all came in November 2022, when OpenAI released ChatGPT-3 to the public. It was by far one of the most pivotal moments in my career, because when I started to use ChatGPT, I realized that we had finally done it. We had finally breached the AI boundary and democratized AI. Until then, AI was this thing that was done over there with data scientists that not many people had access to. It was revolutionary, and I wasn't the only one who thought that. Within 5 days, ChatGPT had 1 million users. And within a month, it had 100 million. And just for a little bit of context, Instagram took 4 years to get to 100 million. It is the fastest adaptation of technology by humans ever. The ability for people to converse with AI in natural language means that anyone can access it and use it, even my dad. And over the last 3 years, we have seen businesses embrace generative AI like no other technology and drive forward incredible amounts of innovation. However, generative AI can't actually do anything. Sure, it can summarize and write you an amazing email, but it can't send it. And sure, if you ask it to plan your holiday to Thailand, it will give you an amazing itinerary, but it can't book it. Generative AI can't do anything. Until now. Over the last 18 months, there has been a conversion of two technologies together that has brought us to this inflection point of agentic AI. The first one, to be honest, not many people talk about it, is autonomous agents. And we have had autonomous agents for years. They work in the background. There's some small snippets of programming code that follow simple tasks. For example, if you sign up to a new website, within a few moments, you often get an email. There's not a human sitting there waiting for someone to sign up to press send on the email. It's an autonomous agent. Or if you get your credit card declined, it's not because there's a human sitting there looking at all of the transactions. It's an autonomous agent. And autonomous agents have been built in the background, always pre-programmed, and they've made some advances in the ability to connect to APIs and the complexity of the tasks they can perform. The real evolution has happened in the generative AI space. So the first models that came out were what we call large language models, ChatGPT-3, etc. But over the last few years, we have been programming and training these models and more data points, billions of parameters. And they have evolved into something called large reasoning models. These large reasoning models can think and solve very complex problems, just like a human. They have chain of thought processing, just like a human. And they can act independently, just like a human. And the convergence of these two technologies means, for the first time in history, AI can actually act and do. So, what does this mean for the financial services industry? Imagine this. Imagine an automated underwriting agent. It can process loan documents in a microsecond, hundreds of them in a minute. It can make data-driven lending decisions at that point in time using billions of data points real time. It can ensure a fair and consistent evaluation. You can remove human bias. Agents don't get tired. They certainly don't get sick. They perform exactly the same way when you need them to. And they can maintain an audit trail. Every decision they made would be explainable and available, so you could always understand why decisions are made. Or how about this? A personal banking agent for each of your customers. Now, if you are a high wealth individual, you typically have your own banking person at the bank, but that luxury is not afforded to everybody. Imagine being able to provide every single one of your customers with their own banking agent. They could provide customized financial advice at any point of time. They would know your customers' saving goals, their transaction history, their product portfolio. They would be able to recommend products in the moment when your customer needs them. And they would be able to handle all of their banking transactions at any time. Imagine your customers never having to come to the bank again. Or even better, imagine your customers never having to phone and sit listening to that wait music. They would be able to be answered immediately. They will never have to wait to talk to you ever again. Or imagine this, a regulatory compliance agent who monitors every single transaction that occurs with your bank. It's looking for fraud, money laundering, non-compliant transactions. And not only is it able to identify them, it's able to take action on them. It can freeze bank accounts if it believes fraud is happening. It can raise an STR if it has concerns about money laundering. And it can amend its views based on policy changes in the moment. It would be always compliant. And while these are just some great hypothetical ideas, some of our customers are already engaging in agentic AI. I'd like to tell you about ANZ Bank. ANZ Bank is one of Australia's top 4 banks, and they have built a multi-agent chatbot for their institutional and commercial bankers. Now, the bankers can interact with this chatbot and access all of the customer data that they need in an instant. They processes 2 billion data points daily and runs thousands of customers' analytics. It can answer questions that would normally take bankers hours to find out in a number of seconds. It takes an incredibly balanced approach. It has separate aligned processes. It has an agent for each of the different decision points. And the results are not only do the customers experience much more personalized approach, but it allows the bankers to do what they should be doing, which is spending time with their customers. Or Itaú Bank, Unibank in Brazil, one of Latin America's largest banks. They've also put out an investment analytics agent, which is an incredibly hyper-personalized experience for their customers. It's a virtual agent that can service its customers 24/7. It never goes to sleep. It's never offline. Customers can ask questions about investments and receive investment advice on the spot. And another one of our customers, MUFG, has also been experimented and leading the charge with AI. And today I'm thrilled to invite Higari-san to the stage. Higari is the head of Quant Innovation, and he's going to tell us about his journey with AI. Please welcome him to the stage.
OK， 大家好，我是苦心学会，我想感谢大家这里。I think I can speak so fluently. Thank you so much. So from now, I will be speaking English. So first of all, thank you for everyone attending our conference. And thank you, Allanna, for a great introduction. And thank you, Matt, for inviting me to such a great event. So my name is Tetsuo Horigane and I lead an AI ML team in MUFG Bank. We are a commercial bank in Japan and provide home financial services to retail and corporate clients as well. And our corporate purpose is committed to empowering a brighter future. Since generative AI is one of the most important technology to empowering everyone, I am very excited to share MUFG's story about our adoption of agentic AI with concrete demonstration today. And I hope my story empowers you on your agentic AI journey. Okay. Before we move on to my presentation, I have very quick 3 questions for you as an icebreaker. So how many of you have used generative AI at least once? Please raise your hand. Okay. Okay, is there, yeah? Okay. Then please keep your hands up if you use generative AI 10 times a day. Okay. So yeah, some guys started a very great journey for generative AI. The final question is that please raise your hand if you now delegate more than 20% of your department tasks to AI. Very few, right? Okay. Thank you for your cooperation. My goal is to, through our presentation, empowering everyone to raise your hand up in 2 years and realize sizable innovation on our financial industry. All right, let's move to my presentation. So let me first start with the introduction of MUFG. MUFG stands for Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, and this is the largest financial group in Japan. And we are operating over 50 countries, including here in Taipei. We have branches in Taipei and here. And we have over 100 years of history, and we have so many customers and corporate clients. I think over 34 million clients and 1 million corporate clients. And we also have 120K employees. As you might know, to keep innovative and frontrunner in financial industries, we are keeping investing on the technology, especially cloud, for a long time. Since 2016, we declared the cloud-first strategy, so we needed to think about the cloud first when we build a new system. And we are shifting so many workloads and data into cloud, especially AWS. For example, we built the landing zone to secure our accounts, and we built the firm-wide data lake to store every data into one place to analyze easily. In 2021, we launched an in-house AI ML team to accelerate the production of AI and ML model to our business. Actually, we find out over 100 potential POC items, and we shipped dozens of AI models into production. And we are heavily using SageMaker for both building the model and operating. We built the MLOps platform on SageMaker. And after the birth of Generative AI 2023, we also advancing the usage of Generative AI. So starting from the simple chatbot to every employee, and now we will very complex multi-agent system now, and we can show the demonstration later. So in this slide, I just summarized the major AWS managed services used for building our in-house system. For AI, we use Bedrock for generative AI and SageMaker for other AI development. And we sometimes use the Kendra and other knowledge bases for the right type of use cases. For data, in addition to traditional relational databases, we use S3 and Glue catalog for following iceberg formats, and use Glue for ETL and Athena and QuickSight to monitor the performance of our AI applications. And for web application, we heavily using container-based services for ECS, EKS, and so on to deploy and scale easily. And we build CI/CD pipeline based on Cloud and Code pipeline. In addition to individual services, we use a so-called 3-tier account strategy to keep the balance between the data security for production environment and flexibility for development environment. Since we are highly regulatory industries, we needed to secure our client data isolated from the internet, but we needed to have flexibility to get the latest open source or whatever to get from the internet. Okay. Then by leveraging such AWS services, we can make trial and error of agentic AI easy, safe, and agile. So we do not stop at POC and soon it goes to the public, goes to the production and get feedback from real world. This is the most important part to build an agentic AI system. So before jumping into our concrete examples, let me share our experiences and values from generative AI. Through our generative AI journey, we experienced two values. Very simple: automation and augmentation. AI can now handle complex data and systems and push the area of automation at a tremendous scale and speed. Also, AI is now getting smarter and smarter. In some cases, say it's much smarter than the usual PhD. It makes it possible to augment all employees with top performer experts. These two values can be applicable to any industry and any workflow. To inspire your imagination, let me introduce one of our use case, corporate client sales activity in global capital markets as a tangible example. Here, I briefly summarize the workflow of sales and trading in global capital markets. So our business, our client faces financial market risk like interest rate risk and foreign exchange rate risk while running their business. For example, rising interest rates can increase repayments amount. The exchange rate change can affect the prices of imported or exported goods and finally impacting their P&L. To manage these risks, clients buy financial products from institutions like ours. However, unlike consumer products, they can't rely on review sites or pop-ups to make purchasing decisions. Because predicting future movement of financial market like interest rates and foreign exchange rate is very difficult even experts like us. And creating products to control specific business risk is not that easy. Therefore, our sales representatives needed to do client analysis and build solution proposals. And once it's okay, then receive the indication and book it into internal system. So we need to do a lot of things one person and it took some experiences and time. Let me deep dive. Through these activities, our clients want to concentrate on their business and it expects us for timely proposals and solve business issues for financial risk, like stabilizing the future cash flow and support their expansion to new countries. To meet their needs, we needed to analyze both public data like annual report. We needed to do both annual report and IR presentation material and private data like our discussion record, transaction data, and so on. In addition, we needed to build a tailor-made solution to meet both client needs and regulatory requirements. So this process is so time-consuming and dependent on individual skills. For example, for client analysis, we needed to collect necessary information from many systems manually. For example, go to the IR site to get public client information. Go to CR system to get discussion record with our clients. Go to internal data warehouse to get transaction history. It takes hours or days in some cases. Even once the data is ready, it requires years of experiences and necessary to ask around experts to analyze and build valuable proposals. Since it was difficult to crystallize the procedure of high performer. So here, agentic AI and MCP model context protocol come into play to make this process automated and augmented. Agentic AI can understand the given context and autonomously act on existing systems. MCP, this is the latest technology developed by Anthropic last year. This is kind of standardized language between the existing data system and agentic AI. And once it's built, every agent can utilize that protocol to interact with the existing system. So that capability is not limited to internal legacy system, but both for external SaaS. By combining these two technologies, we can now do the data collection by just asking the agentic AI to get the relevant data through natural languages. So in that sense, instead of human, that the agentic AI MCP interface with the system, so we just ask the agent, like asked our colleagues. And the agent also do the very simple analytics we can share later. And also we implement the human experts idea decomposed into the individual very small tiny processes and then convert into individual agents. That way, salespersons can now ask another agent for their help instead of asking around the human experts and took so many times. Okay. Now, let me share the tangible example by demonstrating our applications. So imagine how long it would take if you do need to do these 5 items. do the peer analysis, balance sheet analysis, peer comparison, and then read through the SEC filings, annual report of our clients, and then watch through the market trend and do some scheme analytics and also the indication and hedge simulations. And finally, you need to build a beautiful PowerPoint to present your clients. So how long will it take? Hours? Days? No, it's now take just a few minutes. This is a demonstration I want to share today. So this is the application we are internally using right now. So imagine our client considering overseas expansions and sends a proposal request via email at night. The location is, for example, Malaysia, and the client is seeking a pitch for a product related to loans for their expansion to abroad. The task is to create a pitch by the time you arrive at the office in the morning. Here, instead of watching through the Outlook or the email services, I just type relevant information into chat box for demonstration. In real situation, we just fetch the data from email server and put that into our AI systems. So AI now starts thinking about. Behind the scene, we built a bunch of AI agents through the simple analytics. And here, the commanding AI is kicking around and then fetch around the context and then check what kind of agents he needed to call. Here, AI proposes 7 types of analytics based on the given context. If it's okay, you just click the proceed button, and then the AI or agent starts to analyze its own analytics. Since agent, they can run parallelly, in that sense, we can build the relevant information and PowerPoint just a few minutes. So I think it will come soon. So here it comes. So the one agent, peer analysis agent, already done their analysis and then started to create the PowerPoint. So it's a little bit quick, but yeah, they create the graph and then also the comment for the P&L trend and also the balance sheet analysis right now. Here it comes, a beautiful graph and a comment. The market analysis is already done. This market data connected to our internal market data server and then fetch the data from here. And the hedge simulation is already done. And the final is a peer comparison. It's a little bit take a time because we needed to first identify what the peer is. Oh, here already come. Yeah, agent AIs work very well. Yeah, and you get to the comparison and then graph. And finally, another agent collect these results and convert everything into the PowerPoint. Yeah, it's done. The PowerPoint will come soon. Okay, here it is. Yeah, as I said, everything done in just a few minutes. No hours, days. Everything done, and the PowerPoint is ready. So once it's okay, you can ship it to our clients and start kicking the code just morning. So it's already in our production. So not the future, it's right now. Okay, so let me share the AWS architecture behind this demonstration. First of all, business user, we have library and access to our application hosted on ECS and Fargate. It is easy to scale and maintain. And the chat requests are queued to the SQS to control the request to Bedrock because too many requests might shut down the Bedrock, so we queuing that in front of the Bedrock. And data for several agents are stored in S3. Some agents use the MCP and then take the data online, but some data we needed to digest because just putting, for example, annual report or security filings, it has 100 to 200 pages, so it's too many for one agent for that context. In that sense, we digest the data into sizable amount and put that into S3. The data history is controlled by AWS Glue catalog based on iceberg format to easily goes back to previous versions because some financial number might be wrong and needed to be updated. And the chart history is stored in DynamoDB and used for later evaluation. Human loop type of thing. In fact, we can check the difference between the AI suggested version of PowerPoint and actually presented one through the SageMaker. Currently, we just check in a lot human for system update if the difference is very huge, but we want to make that kind of updating process as automated as possible and produce as much time for our sales guys to directly deal with our corporate clients. Okay, now let's summarize the business outcome through our journey so far. So we automate the time-consuming step like collecting the data, doing analysis. Also, we augment all salespersons with high-performance skill. In this way, we confirm that we can... Something wrong? Can I go? Okay, great. Also, we augment also, yeah. So in this way, we confirm that we can expand the sales coverage 10 times for lead generations because we have so many times to discuss with the clients directly, and also so many younger employees can handle this kind of complex analysis. And at the same time, we confirm that conversion rate is kept about 30%, and that is close to the rate of expert based on our feedback from dozens of actual clients. So it's not imaginary, it's not future thing. We already use this kind of technology to our corporate clients directly. In addition, we started our generative AI journey from last year and just built up this application platform within a few months. This success is attributed to not only our internal assets, for example, the deeper collaboration with the sales and developers and existing experts on cloud and AI for over 10 years, but also through the dedicated support from AWS account team sitting there. Especially AWS provides not just infrastructure or building blocks, but enablement for generative AI in several steps. For R&D, we collaborate with Generative AI Innovation Center to catch up with latest research paper and do first trial and error, prompt engineering, fine-tuning, and also self-hosting, and so on. Since this area is moving very rapidly, this kind of help is very important to us. For POC, we use AWS ML enablement workshop to build tangible POC plan. We did a 3 days workshop with the facilitation of AWS and sit business and engineer at the same room and discuss intensively how we could transform our workflow by using latest technology. For MVP, minimum viable product building, we use AWS prototyping program. At the beginning of the last year, we did not have enough experts on front-end development, since our team is originated from back-end model development team. With the help of prototyping team, we accelerated the release schedule and also acquired the front-end development capability. Let me take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to them. Thank you. So what's next? As I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, in 2 years, I think 15 to 20% of our decision-making or tasks should be delegated to AI. The AI value of the agentic AI brings automation and augmentation. This has transformative impact on every workflow. So expanding the coverage of agentic AI is essential, and here I summarize the steps, how we are expanding the use of agentic AI in 5 steps. First, we needed to build a strategy and prioritize what workflow needed to be transformed and unbundle the steps. Then we build AI agent. Identify the relevant, important data and important tool to build the AI agent. Once each agent is ready, we rebundle into multi-agent system and evaluate the outcome and update based on feedback. Since AI might choose different approach from the original human workflow, we need to verify whether it is acceptable. Then we could cycle GenAI by adding more and more agents to make our workflow or even business model itself to be more efficient, scalable, and evolvable. To be honest, last December, I made the presentation at Lehman, Las Vegas, and at that moment, we just built the individual AI agent. For example, peer analysis agent, balance sheet analysis agent, peer comparison sys agent, and so on and so forth. But these 6 and 7 months, we combine and rebundle into the multi-agent system. So this is just the beginning of our overture of our agentic AI journey. So combining a lot of agents into our workflow, I think we rebuild our business model. This is our strategy, and several agentification, so-called agentification projects are on the way, and I wish I could share our business outcomes soon. Finally, let us reflect on the lessons we learned from our journey. Agentic AI brings new level of automation and augmentation. It has impact on every workflow to be more efficient, scalable, and evolvable. The recent technology MCP breathes the new life on existing systems by combination with agentic AI. Deep collaboration between the business persons and developer is essential. So generative AI is not only to techie guys, but for everyone. In fact, feedback from the real world drives agent ops. And leveraging AWS managed services makes trial and error of agentic AI journey easy, safe, and agile. The progress of GenAI technology is very fast, and by starting right now, right here, you can change your business. I hope my story empowering your journey to be fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your story next time here in Taipei. Thank you. 谢谢.
Thank you so much, Horigane-san, for sharing your story with us. So how is AWS going to help its customers achieve their agentic AI visions? Well, we ourselves have a vision for the future. Our vision is to provide the best place to build the world's most useful AI agents, empowering organizations to deploy reliable and secure agents at scale. And so how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to focus on the fundamentals. We are building and leveraging state-of-the-art science. We are building a class of models that are world-class. NovaAct, our first truly agentic model, was announced at New York Summit in July. NovaAct is one of the world's first models that can not only respond and converse in natural language, but it can actually it can act within a web browser. It can make you hotel reservations. It can send emails. We're also partnering with companies like Anthropic to ensure that our customers always get the best-in-class models. But we also understand that technology is changing at an incredibly rapid pace. And everything we are designing is designed with the idea that as technology evolves, we will evolve our products too. We are also building the best infrastructure for you to build your agents. And in New York Summit, we were happy to announce the launch of Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, our agentic AI platform. We're also building tools from no code to fully customizable to suit everybody's needs. We're also building agents, specialized agents in certain industry verticals such as FSI, but also horizontal agents that cut across all businesses for HR, for finance, for operations. And we're building a truly intuitive process. We honestly believe that AI, to be as successful as it should be, needs to be fully democratized. Everybody should be able to use and build agentic AI agents. So let's talk about how that translates into our tech stack. Well, Amazon Bedrock Agent Core is the foundation of our agentic AI strategy. But that's not all we're doing. We're building more. We are building agent-powered applications. Some of them are for our developer community to help them build better agents. But some of them are for our business users, people who may not have had the opportunity to engage with AWS and AI before. One of the really exciting tools that we brought out is an Amazon Agentic Marketplace. AWS is fortunate enough to have some of the most innovative customers in the world, and they are building agents that are ready to use and enterprise grade ready. Amazon AWS Marketplace will allow all of our customers to buy ready-made agents. This will enable you to realize time to value incredibly quickly. We also have Cairo, which is our IDE. Now, I haven't coded in a long time. I did when I was a bit younger, but it's been a very long time since I've put my hands on the keyboard. And even I can use it. It's incredibly fun, and if you haven't had a chance, I really recommend that you download it. We've also built Strands into our agentic AI strategy and tech stack. Now, Strands was released earlier in the year before we announced Bedrock Agent Core, but it's now been incorporated into the platform. And finally, we also have models such as Nova Act, which I just spoke about. So let's dive a little bit more deeply into Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. When we were designing Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, we designed it on what we call primitives. Getting an agent from proof of concept to production is incredibly hard. And we wanted to ensure that you had everything that you would need in order to productionize your agents. So, first of all, runtime. You need to have secure runtime to be able to run your agents reliably. The next thing is Agent Core Gateway. Your agents will want to access data, whether it's through an API or interface with another data source. Agent memory is incredibly important in agentic AI. With generative AI, we relied on the parametric memory of our models, or RAG. That won't do with agentic AI. Agents, especially customer service agents, for example, will need to remember the conversation that they're having with the customer, but also the conversations that they had several weeks ago. They will need to leverage Model Context Protocol to ensure that they remember what they've already said. We also know that agents are going to have to be able to interpret code to execute tasks. So we've built Agent Core Code Interpreter as a primary primitive. This will allow agents to execute tasks such as data analysis or information gathering. Agents will also want to access the internet. That's where the vast volume of information is. So we've included Agent Core Browser. This will allow your agents to interact with a web browser in the exact same way as a human does. One of the most important things we've included is Agent Core Identity. Just like humans, agents need to be limited in the data that they're access to, and they need to only have access to the data that they need, not everything. So Agent Core Identity looks a little bit like I am. It ensures that agents only access the correct data that they need. We also have Agent Core Observability. Now, this is incredibly important, especially in agentic workflows. We need to know how an agent is performing. We need to know whether there's any issues. We need to know what that agent did. And we need to be able to take that data to continuously enhance the performance of that agent. So one of the last primitives that we built into Agent Core is observability. You can observe what an agent does end to end and use that to analyze the performance of that agent. Agent Core is the world's best place to build your agents. So what will you build first? Thank you.
Thank you very much.